So I think I've put it off long enough. It's time to get going on the C-10. Let's start grinding. So for now I end up spraying some self-etching primer just for the meantime. Once it warms up a little bit, I'll knock it back down and I'll throw some epoxy on it. The main reason why I didn't spray this thing with epoxy to begin with is it's pretty cold out here, and I do have this guy right there that does help, but once that fires out, temperature starts dropping pretty drastically. The main reason why it doesn't stay super nice and toasty in my garage. So while I wait for spring to come, there's a couple things I can do. Eventually I'm going to put filler over all the spot welds in the firewall to smooth it out and make it a little bit nicer. I'm most likely going to be going with a unit from Vintage Air. The factory units had a big bulky box sticking off the firewall. That's going to be eliminated, and all the Vintage Air system components are going to go underneath the dashboard. I'm going to close off the hole for the blower motor, and then I'm going to have to take care of the rust that's right above there, and I'm going to close off these two holes for the AC heater system. You kind of get a vision going for so many years, and then it kind of changes last minute. But I had a 350 mocked up in here and a Muncie 4-speed M20. The 350 was actually out of my 71 Monte Carlo, so I don't know what I'm going to do with that. It's all machined already. Maybe I'll just build it just to have a extra engine laying around. That way, if the Cursemaro blows up again, I can just throw the 350 in and I can still kind of keep driving it, you know. I think, honestly, no matter what I do to this truck, eventually I want to get decent gas mileage out of it. I want to be able to take it on the highway. I want to have an overdrive. So scrapping the idea of the 350 and the 4-speed, I decided to get an LS-based motor, most likely a 5.3 out of a junkyard. That will be mounted to a T56. I'm at that point where if I need to notch the frame for the headers of the LS, this is the time to do it. So if I go through all that, there's going to be a couple things that I'm not going to need anymore once I put that LS and T56 in. I'm not going to need the bracket for the Z-bar. I'm also going to close off this hole where the clutch rod came through the firewall. This used to actually be a straight 6 truck. That's why there is 2 cross members there. Once I pop the cab off, I got to remove that cross member there. That was for the 3-speed Saginaw, bolted to the bell housing. So besides closing off all the holes on the firewall, there's a couple spots of rust that I'm going to have to tackle too. I would say this is probably the worst area that I'm going to have to deal with. I'll probably cut it along here, all the way down, probably to this point. And then I'll have to obviously invest in a shrinker and stretcher to get this to lay down right. I've considered doing a short bed conversion. I honestly like the long bed. I know that if I want to sell it at some point, the short bed obviously is going to bring me a lot more money. But I don't really plan on selling this thing. I kind of want to get this thing as a daily driver type of deal. And if I need to go, you know, tow a car or something like that with a trailer, this is going to be the truck to do it with. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be nice. It's going to be restored, but it's a truck. I'm going to use it as a truck. I can go out and buy a 2018 Chevy Silverado or whatever the hell they have these days, but honestly, what's the fun in that? Throw a 5.3 LS, get like 400 something horsepower out of it, get a nice, you know, overdrive manual transmission. Dude, you can't beat that. As far as the bed goes on this thing, the bed is junk on this thing. It's bad. LMC Truck does sell a replacement floor for this thing, but it is pretty pricey. For a long bed, I believe it's right around $1,200. So what I was going to do is I think I was going to go with wooden here. It'd be a lot cheaper, it'll look a lot nicer. The only problem is I got underneath this thing a couple minutes ago, and if you can tell how bad that is, it looks just as bad underneath. So a lot of the braces that are underneath the supports are pretty rotted through. So it's not just going to be the floor that I have to replace, it's going to be a good portion of the actual braces that need to be replaced too. Alright, I'm going in. First two supports are salvageable. This support is gone. So as I said, yeah, these supports are pretty bad. Oh, look at this beautiful floor. What did I get myself into? But that's why we rebuild these cars and trucks, right? Because it's fun. Yes, it is fun. Sometimes it can be a royal pain in the, you know. Also, I'm in the process of shooting another video on doing the floor repair, rocker panels, footwell, front pillar, cab support that runs underneath there. Like I said, this thing is so rotted. When I found this truck, I kind of jumped on it. I overlooked a lot of things, which, what can you do, man? I wanted it bad. So the question is, if I could go back in time, would I not buy this truck? Because it's pretty bad. I mean, it's pretty beat up. There's a lot of rust on it. Honestly, no. I would buy it. I wouldn't change anything about it. I got a lot of good years out of this truck. Got a lot of good memories. So yeah, I wouldn't change anything about it.